Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel, glad to see you here. I was working on connecting social media accounts to locally hosted posties and found a few crucial moments that I think are very important to be shared with you before going further. It turns out that running posties locally without any public exposure to the internet has some downsides, especially when it comes to connecting certain social media accounts. So, in this video, I will guide you through the process of making your local host accessible from the internet. This one is going to be a little bit more complex even for me, since I'm really not that great at networking, but we will figure it out together. If you have experience in this area and can share some knowledge or suggest better options, please drop a comment. There is at least one person here who would be really grateful. Thank you in advance. One more very important thing to mention before we jump into exposing our local host to the world. Even though locally hosted posties is completely free, some social media platforms hide the ability to use third-party software behind a paywall. I'm still going to try connecting all of the available accounts anyway. So whenever I upload a new video with a connection guide, I will put a clear mark directly on the thumbnail to show that connecting that particular social media account will require some kind of payment. Now, if you are still here after hearing those shocking news, let's move on. As you might have noticed, I am currently on macOS, but don't worry, it will be mainly used to set things up on the internet side and to test the final result. All the required software will be installed on Linux, exactly the same one I used to install posties in previous video. Okay, let's take a look at the big picture of what we are trying to achieve, and this is how our current setup looks like. In this picture, majority of us are here when the post is installed and hosted on your PC, and you are accessing it via the local host. Some of you might have slightly more complex setup where the posties is hosted on some PC in your network, but you're accessing it from another device within the same local network. And this is approximately what we are trying to achieve. We will make our local host with posties to be exposed to the internet, so anybody from outside will be able to access it just by using regular website URL. Let us talk a little bit more about the URLs we will be able to use. There are basically two options. If you want to use some fancy name, in this case you would need to register Cloudflare account, buy custom domain name and install the Cloudflared service. Second option can provide you just some randomly generated URL. In this case you don't really need a Cloudflare account or custom domain name. You just need to install the Cloudflared service. But keep in mind that this randomly generated URL will be regenerated every time you are restarting your Cloudflared service. No matter what option you choose, we need to install Cloudflared. This thing will help us to create a tunnel. What kind of tunnel, you will understand later on. To be able to do that, let's go to cloudflare.com. Click on developers, then library. Here we need to click on tunnel. And here you basically can see the picture approximately the same I was already showing you, where from some example.com you are getting to your local host. And to be able to make this happen, we need to create a tunnel. Scroll down a bit and in the next steps you will be able to see a link for Cloudflare download. I believe you already know the drill, so just select the version for your operating system, download it and install it. As usually I will be doing this my way for Linux Mint. If you are doing this for Linux Mint as well, I will share the commands you need to run to install Cloudflare in the description to this video. When installation is complete, open the terminal and run Cloudflared -- version just to check that everything is in place. At this point, depending on the option you would like to proceed with, you would need to run either of commands. If you would like to use your custom domain registered at Cloudflared, you need to run Cloudflared tunnel login. After logging into the Cloudflared, you will be asked to pick up the domain you would like to use. In case you would like to proceed with randomly generated URL, you need to run the Cloudflare tunnel ---- URL and your local host on the port. After tunnel was requested, you can find the link here. As you can see now, this web URL is pointing out to your local host where you have Posties running. And let's test the result on another device. Voila. Okay, for me this voila happened several hours ago. All the time I was trying to figure out how can I actually log in back to Posties using the public URL, and I finally found the way. So here is what we need to do. Go back to Posties configuration file. Main URL, frontend URL, next public backend URL. You are still having here HTTP, localhost, and the port. You need to replace all three with your public URL. Just be careful. If main URL and frontend URL can be replaced fully, the next backend URL has to have /API at the end. And also, one important part, you need to provide not secured true. According to the documentation, this is not critical for development. However, for the productive use, it has to be changed. So for us, it's okay right now. After that, you will be able to create accounts and log in again using your public URL. The last thing that I would recommend you to do is go to your Posties via public URL, register new account, then get back to this file and disable registration by simply providing value true for disable registration key. Save and restart the Docker and you are good to go. Well, that was quite a journey, huh? Would be really glad to hear how it went for you. So do not hesitate, drop a comment. If this video was helpful, or at least you had a good sleep having me running in the background, I would really appreciate if you can push that like and subscribe buttons. In this case, you will not miss the next video about configuring one of the platforms, and I will be able to grow my channel a bit more. Thank you for being here. I really hope to see you in the next one. Take care.